Muted. All right, welcome to our second session of our basketball clinic. This is the 2021 NMOA State Clinic. Our next speaker, I will let Dana introduce, but I do want to say that what a treat. Just an absolute pioneer in basketball officiating. Her knack for wanting to teach and develop officials is definitely one of the best in the country. And so with that, I'll hand it over to Dana.
Thank you, Nate. So we do have an extraordinary person and a great referee and great coordinator, just a great human being all the way around joining us tonight. And that is Penny Davis. So Penny, welcome. Penny is the current NCAA National Coordinator of Women's Basketball Officiating. She has 22 years of officiating experience and worked the Division I National Tournament 14 times, including 2 Final Four selections. Early in Penny's career, she started her own summer training, which many of you have attended. That's referee school, and that was an opportunity for her to share her knowledge and help other officials. Penny served as the development director in Division III, NAIA, and junior college conferences and helped officials improve and attain their officiating goals. And I was fortunate to meet Penny 2 years ago when we were still allowed to do live things at the NASO Summit in Washington State, and just clicked with her immediately. And whatever Penny Davis is selling, I'm buying. She's just a tremendous asset to the avocation and profession of officiating, and we are absolutely honored to have her presenting the habits of the successful referee this evening. So Penny, welcome, and thank you so much for being here.
Wow, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I hope that all of that is true. Really appreciate the opportunity to be in front of your group here today, and appreciate the work that you all are doing in New Mexico. I think it's really profound, and it shows in the officiating that I have seen and witnessed in my own eyes, from people that have come to camps to people that are working at all levels of collegiate basketball, and really appreciate that. And again, thanks for all the work that you do, and for all the impact you've had, Dana. I know that there's going to be some changes there in the state, but your legacy is one that will not be omitted anytime soon. And DJ Nate, I love how you rallied the troops and kind of got me pumped up. You know, I didn't hear my walkout song for the presentation, but next time we could do that. It's Penny Davis eyes. I'm sorry, Betty Davis eyes. Every time you all hear that song now, you'll think of me. So I'm sorry or thank you, whichever way you want to look at it. Without further ado, just wanted to dive into the topic today, habits of a successful referee, and want to try and engage you guys a little bit too. I know we all have a little Zoom fatigue. We've been doing this for over a year, and it's a great way to get to reach a whole lot more people than I'd be able to do in person. But it's really nice to be able to interact with everyone a little bit. So we're gonna try and do that. So here's my first slide. Give me a nod, Nate, that you can see what I'm working with there. Okay. So if you guys could quit texting your friends and get out your cell phone, unless you're using your cell phone to view this presentation, we're gonna do a little exercise. And I just want to know kind of from you guys how many years you've been officiating. So if you can go to a browser on your phone or a different device and go to slido.com and then type in NMOA as the code, and that will get you to this question. And oh, we got some people that are in there. I don't know who was first, but that was really fast. Nicely done. So let's see, we've got 123 people on the call. So we've got 4 people that have answered. So I know it'll take a few seconds to get some responses in here, but this will kind of help me gauge some of my content as well. So if you could take the time to do this. Again, it's slido.com and NMOA is the code.
Or hold your camera up to the little QR code and it'll open up your browser.
Great point there, Nate. Great point. Okay, so just from the kind of the straw poll here, I'm seeing that most people are in that 5 to 10 year range, with sprinklings in the other categories as well. So that's probably our dominant group, which that's wonderful. I'm going to move on to the next question, and you can enter in any text here, but to you guys, what defines a successful referee in your mind? What are some of the things that that resonate with you as with someone who's successful? And I won't know who sent in anything. It's just a way for me to get a little feedback from you all right now. Oh, here we go. Great. Okay. Seeing consistent in there a lot. Ability to learn, hard work and dedication. Good. Very good. Someone, a game ambassador. Nice. See, we don't have to be in the same room. I can get you to raise your hands and answer things. This is wonderful. Love it. Teachable. Very true. So some of these things were very similar to the thoughts and ideas that I came up with as I was working through building this presentation for you guys. Someone who is happy with how and what they were doing. Very true. On top of everything. Okay, great. Great. You guys can continue to respond on this, but I'm going to move on to some of the things that I identified as the characteristics for a successful referee. And so let's just go through these. Officiating aptitude. Originally I had on here someone that just, makes correct calls. And there's a lot more that goes to it than that. Someone who's dependable, consistent. You guys nailed that. Someone who's professional, someone that leads, shows leadership, and then someone that's dedicated. And these are the 6 categories that I kind of outlined that really resonated with me when I got this topic to talk on. So we're going to dive into each one of these and get into some specifics that hopefully you guys can take and use to help you improve and grow in your game. And and if you're an old dog and you've been around a really long time, if you get 3 or 4 things out of this,
I know.
a little feedback there. If you get 3 or 4 things out of this, that's probably the right amount. Now, if you're brand new, you should probably pick up a ton of things from this presentation. And that's just the, kind of as you go through the ranks, that's the normal progression. And you're gonna slowly, the longer you go in this craft, the more and more you're fine tuning. And it's not, I'm going to get 50 things from this. So just to manage everyone's expectations, I wanted to kind of give that perspective. So when it comes to making more correct calls and having that just in-depth understanding, knowing the rules is a huge piece of that. And I'm sure this doesn't surprise anyone. Getting and understanding the basics is one thing, but knowing what to do when you have an atypical situation that comes up and responding and acting in the game that like you've dealt with this 100 times, even though maybe it's only the second time, but your rules knowledge is so strong and you're so prepared that you're not shocked and worried that you're going to make a mistake. Think of the technical foul that happens between quarters. Do we know where that team foul goes? Does it go before in the previous quarter, or does it go to the next quarter? If you're not strong with your rules knowledge, you may not have that awareness. Knowing the casebook plays. Applying and enforcing the rules is the other piece of it. You may know the rules and, you may not like the hand checking rule, but whether you like it or not, it's your job to enforce that. And that's what a successful referee does. That's their habit. Doesn't matter what their own philosophy is. The game philosophy is the only thing that determines what they're going to do. Proper positioning. If this manual doesn't look familiar to you, That's a problem. You need to know what the ins and outs are of the manual in each of the positions. And, basically that's going to help you train your eyes on where you're really supposed to look. And if you're looking in the correct locations, you're gonna get that off-ball screen that the coach has been complaining about for the last 2 minutes, and you're gonna be prepared for it. And you're gonna be ready. Rotating is a big piece of proper positioning. You may know where to stand as a lead, but if you never rotate and go strong side when you're working the 3-person system, you're not exacting the mechanics the way that you're supposed to be. That's really important the farther you go as you move into interdistrict play. And if you aspire to get your butt an opportunity to referee at the pit, you being able to work with other referees from other associations is huge. And knowing proper positioning and doing it every single time is a key component to that. Do you have the foot speed to referee and cover a play in transition properly? If you don't, you need to learn some tactics and anticipate where your open angle might come up and learn to stop there and referee that play and then finish to the baseline. Position adjustments are huge. If you are not constantly adjusting, tweaking, moving your body so you can maintain that open look or create that open look, particularly when it comes to jump shooters, you're going to miss plays. And so that's a big piece of it. If you watch your own film or you just have a friend evaluate you and they say, well, you're just standing in one spot, Penny. Okay, well, where should I go? Well, let's look at some film. Let's take some snapshots. Let's see where that open angle is going to be created. I want to get to a spot for a jump shooter so that I can see the release of that ball and referee that point of contact every time that shot happens in my primary. If I have that goal for my in-game goal, I want to be in that, I want to get those open looks, I'm going to referee that play better. I'm going to put myself in a position for success. The next point, gain experience. It's really hard sometimes when you're coming up to gain experience because you're probably not assigned to that quote unquote big game, but you can go to that big game and you can watch those veteran referees work that assignment. You can see the things that they do. You can see how they maybe de-escalate a conflict situation with the coach. You can see, their mechanics and signals. You can watch how they communicate on the floor. That experience that you can gain in the bleachers is really significant early on in your career. So if you're not sticking around for the varsity game when you just work the JV game, that's a missed opportunity. If you don't go down to the pit and watch the championships when they happen, that's a missed opportunity. It doesn't matter if you live in Albuquerque or not. You can go and drive there and support your fellow referees. That's a habit of a highly successful referee. There's so much you can learn from shared experiences, even if you're not on the floor. There's a piece to officiating that is certainly an art. I know we get more science driven as we move farther along in history with technology and video, but there's an art to it, and understanding that feel for the game and understanding, when the right time for a whistle is, or gosh, your partner just had a really close block charge play and they called a blocking foul on the other end. You have a similar play on the other end of the floor right in your lap. If you haven't already thought that, man, if I have a close play like that, I know what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to call block so we're consistent. The perception of consistency. Now you may go home and look at that play frame by frame and say, wow, that probably really was a charge. But in that moment, the right call for the game really could be the blocking foul. And that's the art behind it. And, you can learn those things that aren't in the book, probably more likely at a restaurant or a bar or in a car ride. But that's the information that some of the veterans can provide you. And that's the game awareness point that I just noted in the last bullet point there. How to be more dependable. This was the second item. Being on time is a huge piece. I know when I first started my high school officiating career, I had relocated from Pennsylvania all the way to Seattle, Washington. And I grew up in a tiny town with one stoplight. So my familiarity with big cities was pretty lacking. And frankly, I was very optimistic about how long it would take me to get somewhere. living in the country, 30 miles, that's 30 minutes. And in the city, it doesn't work that way, as we all know. But being on time is a huge part of what we do. You want to take the angst off of administrators and your other partners, show up on time. And that's not just leaving early, but that's getting directions, that's having your GPS set. It is making sure that once you get to that school's campus, that where their gym is. And those are all things that we can communicate and find out from one another. Completing tasks when requested. And I said when requested, and now that I've been in administration a little bit, and I got to say, when people ask for something and they put a deadline on it, they really want it now, and the deadline is a courtesy to you. And for you, if you want to be a highly successful referee, turn that thing right back around. Yeah, I see the administrators clapping. Turn that thing right back around, whatever it is, because they need it and they want to check you off the list. And if you're the person that they can check off the list first, that's going to resonate with them. And it's extremely meaningful that they don't have to track you down. And if you're the person that waits till that last minute, you become a little bit of a risk sometimes. And so, just keep that in mind. Accepting assigned games, remember that they assign those games based upon your availability. So, if you look at that assignment and, it should really be a hardship for you if you're going to turn back a game. It creates problems for our assigners at all levels. And that's not a habit of successful referees. So keep your availability up to date so you don't get assignments that you're not able to accept. Communication is a big piece, not just off the floor, but on the floor as well. But in all formats, you want to make sure you're returning calls, you're returning texts, you're returning emails. And in that game, if two of your partners are getting together, you better go to that meeting as well and be present, make sure you're staying focused. You want to find out what's going on in that team huddle, and you're staying in the mindset of what's going on in the game. And that's extremely important. Another part of being dependable is honesty. And frankly, I think that sometimes it's easy to just, make up a story about why you can't take the game or why you were late. Be honest. People understand. I mean, we understand real life, and, the last thing you want to do is have a reputation of being dishonest in this industry. Working hard every game, it should go without saying, but I wanted to say it because it's really important. And I had an experience just a couple weeks ago. We had a camp in Idaho, and our camp games were great. And then the people that were covering the other games, that when we had classroom, we got feedback on some of that information. And, we had a referee who was leaning on a wall on the baseline, not transitioning, and refereeing the game from that spot. And it doesn't matter that official wasn't part of the camp. That looks bad on all of us, every referee in the world. So working hard every game is a big piece. And I've never done that. I hope none of you have ever done that, but somebody did it, and it's one of our brothers or sisters that's wearing stripes. So, making a point that that's not okay. That type of behavior is not okay. And working hard every game that you accept is really important to your association, and it should be important to you too. People say, "Oh, I brought my A game tonight." Well, you know what? If you have an A game, then you should have that every time you're on the floor. It shouldn't just be when you're working that marquee matchup in the varsity. It's got to be when you got to be that same referee all the time. That's what dependable is. Maintaining focus and concentration is huge. And this is really an in-game type of response, but you have to stay focused. And, if your first thing you do when you go in the locker room at halftime is grab your cell phone, you're not in focus. You're not concentrating. If you're looking in the stands at the fan that just said something inappropriate to you, you haven't maintained your focus. Those are the kinds of things that successful referees do as a habit, as a routine every single time. And then being a team player is another really important piece, particularly when it comes to your association. Are you the official that, let's see, you have to go to 6 required meetings, but there's 8 meetings for the association? Do you go to all 8, or do you just meet the minimum? There's information that's shared there that's probably really important for what's going on. That's really key. Being a team player is also, calling up your association member that, just got their first state championship berth. You can be jealous about them. You could think you should be the one in that seat, that you should have gotten that assignment, but you also need to be a team player and be the one to say, hey, congratulations, that's really, really cool. And, in the back of your head, you're saying, darn, I really wish I were there too. But that's what being a team player is. You got to celebrate the other folks and be supportive of them. Being more consistent. This was something that many of you responded as a key characteristic, and I certainly agree. And a big piece of consistency is learning from mistakes. And to learn from mistakes, probably the first step is to admit you're wrong. I've known of a lot of referees who are never wrong. Just ask them. If you're that referee, you're probably not learning from your mistakes. And it's tough in the game to realize you've made that mistake. It's tough to own it, but it's a huge piece of it. And if you're not willing to have that own self-awareness and honesty, you're not going to be able to grow and gain that consistency that you want. Because, consistency can be good and bad. You don't want to be consistently wrong. That's not going to get you very far. So we want to be consistently correct and consistently improving. Staying current is a big, big piece of growing and staying consistent. If you are not current with the rules, with terminology, with points of emphasis, I know last year we had to really work on being current with all of the COVID protocols and all of those standards that we had to bring in place. That was, a dire level of needing to stay current. We need to take that same approach when it comes to all these other matters. That's why attending all 8 of the meetings, if it's 8 of 8, that's really important. That's why reading those memos and emails that come out from your association are important. Being a year-round referee is something that is key. And that doesn't mean you have to take the floor in June or July, but if the only time you're thinking about basketball officiating is November through March, you can expect a November through March type of result. And it's the folks that, think about the game, that are attending camps, that are watching film, they're self-evaluating. Those are the folks that are consistently improving and consistently better year after year. That also ties into accountability. I mentioned only having an A game, admitting mistakes, owning that, being upfront and forthcoming to your signers. When things happen, that's the piece that's really important. And occasionally you need to admit to a coach that you missed a play too. That goes a whole lot farther than you would think. And I know those words don't taste very good coming out of our mouths sometimes, but the first time you do it, it stings, but you'll probably be surprised by the reaction that you get. You have this picture here, you can see, people working on their game, people breaking down film, learning from, we didn't have 5 people referee this game, but 5 people are learning from the situation that happened there. And that's the key part of growth. Talking about professional habits, striving for excellence is a personal goal. But you should really think of how could I have been better after this game, and do that with each and every game. Set your own personal goals, have your areas of improvement. Gosh, I wasn't very good at paying attention to clocks. We had, 2 situations right now where our clocks, ran and we had a big correction. Next game, I'm going to focus on my clock awareness. So you can self-evaluate and take those things. Oh, people like drawing on my screen there. You drawing on yourselves there, or I like that. That's all that self-evaluation. And if you're not having that critical eye on yourself, it's hard to improve. And you know, take your peer to a game, evaluate the film. And I know, it's a whole lot easier now to have game film. A lot of high schools are live streaming their video. You can get access to it. It's not as difficult as you think. But just, watching a few minutes, you don't have to break every game down, start to finish and do a whole deep dive on it. You can watch 10 minutes of game film. And, maybe that's my goal. I've never watched film before. I'm going to find this film and I'm going to grab one of my mentors or one of my colleagues, and we're going to watch 10 minutes. If I can do that, twice throughout the season, if I've never watched film, you know what, that's a great goal. That's very attainable. That's the type of thing that we really want folks to start doing to improve. That's the proactive approach as well. Reaching out. Don't wait for somebody to come and tell you, hey, Penny, that signal of doing the offensive foul behind your head, that went out like 10 years ago. You want to probably just drop that and punch. Those are the kinds of things that if I don't ask somebody, they may be reluctant to tell me. Being courteous is a key professional habit. The longer you're in this business, the more surprising it is to me that people don't take the time to know one another's names. Whether it's the referees you're working with on the floor, or it's that scorekeeper that has been at that gym since the beginning of time, and you see them and you shake their hand every game and you've never bothered to ask their name and to remember it. I had a practice throughout my officiating career where I really took notice of people's names. In fact, I still have the spreadsheet, and I would have on there the gym name or the school, and then I'd have a column for the scorekeeper, the timer, the shot clock operator, and even the gym manager. And I didn't have it filled out all the way, but I will tell you, it's amazing how hard people will work for you when they know that you care. And me walking into that gym and using my cheat sheet and saying, hey, Dana, how you doing today? Thanks for running our clock today. Really appreciate you. Hey, Nate, thank you. Glad you're here tonight. Good to see you, whatever. When you have a problem in a game and now you go to that person and you've already established this great rapport, it's amazing how they will want to fix and resolve the situation for you, and they care. The only time it's been a problem for me is I've been in a restaurant and there's a face I recognize and I couldn't place this person and they knew me, and I was kind of busted in that moment because I didn't know what gym that person came from. But knowing people's names goes a real long way in this, and it's such a simple concept, and outside of officiating anywhere in your life, it's really important. And then evolving a professional habit. If you're stuck in your own ways, if you're still saying 3-man mechanics and not 3-person mechanics, your terminology is not up to date. That's not the habit of a professional, successful referee. So those are just a few things from a professionalism standpoint, and we could probably name 50 others that would go well on the slide. But those are some good things I think you guys can take and evolve from. Diving into leadership habits. And I touched on this earlier, but enforcing the points of emphasis. And I know every year the points of emphasis come out and people grumble and, well, that's not my philosophy, and that's ticky-tack, and that's this and that's that. Well, you know what? The National Federation, has a committee, and they come up with the points of emphasis. And, if you want to lead with a smile and take your marching orders and follow them. And if the marching orders are to call this and you disagree, just do it. That's what leadership is. And you do it consistently and when you're that veteran referee and you show the example by blowing your whistle on these plays and you do it all the time, that's going to result in the rest of your crew following you and the rest of your association following you. Organize and facilitate. And I didn't specify what you would be organizing and facilitating in this leadership role, but I think sometimes it's a simple thing like, hey, let's go grab food after the game and talk about it. Let's go after the meeting and do this. I know some folks had put some information on Facebook about a little bike group there in Albuquerque. Things like that are really important for the culture and unity of your group, and facilitating that is key for an organization, and that's what successful referees do. Anytime you've got a new official in your organization, you should want to work with that person. This was a practice that I took on when I kind of got established in college. I wanted to find out who the new hire officials were. And I made a point to reach out to them before the season even happened and congratulating them on, getting hired, introducing myself, just kind of laying some groundwork. And, the value of that is really significant. If you're able to build that rapport off the floor, the minute they're assigned with you, their reaction is probably like, yes, I get to work with Penny, not, oh my God, I get to work with Penny. I got to be really good. You want them to be comfortable. And I always tried to create a level of comfort with any of my crews, because I know when people are comfortable, they're going to perform better. If you make your crew nervous, that's going to result in some potential side effects that are less than desirable. So making new people feel comfortable. You have a transfer official, come into your association. Are you sizing them up, wondering if they're going to take your playoff position, or are you embracing them with open arms and welcoming them to the group? Leaders welcome them to the group. Leaders make that phone call and say, hey, if you need anything, let me know. I'll reach out. I'm here. Here's my number. Be that first point of contact. Be that person that connects with them first. That's a leadership habit. Serving the organization. If you've been asked to serve on a committee or serve on a board, that's an honor, and it comes with great responsibility. But do it and do it well. Don't just phone it in and let other people do the work. Truly commit to that role, and don't overcommit. I know people who've been on boards for decades, and we got to have succession planning. And if we're not training people to do these other roles, whether it's training apprentices, whether it's managing our observer program, whatever the roles are, there's a place for you to help and serve and learn the organization and just extend your commitment. That's being invested in the group. Leading the pregame is an easy thing for a veteran official to do. I remember early on in my career, it was almost a joke, like, oh, we're gonna let the new person, here, Penny, you're gonna lead the pregame, ready, go. Well, that doesn't help the new person learn. We want to give them that opportunity when they're ready, after they've heard 20, 30, 40 pre-games. But just pitching that straight to the rookie is a bad move. That's not what leaders do. Leaders should want to lead and run that pregame. They should want to grow their crewmates and have them be prepared to be leaders in the future. But that's an important piece. I don't know why folks would shirk that responsibility and not take it seriously, because it's an important part of our game. Preparing our crew for what lies ahead, and to just dump that on the rookie because you don't want to give the pregame is not a leadership move. Dedication. The dedicated referee, they put the game first. They put the student athlete first, ahead of themselves. They put the quality of the game ahead of themselves. They put their partners next, and you're last in that equation. That's what a dedicated referee does. investing in the crew, some of the points I mentioned about, building that rapport before you even and get in a locker room, that's an important piece. Learning to facilitate, someone's new in our association or they're new in officiating, plan to meet, and maybe you don't want to carpool, but hey, there's a gas station right at the corner of this exit, let's meet there and then go into the school together. There's things that we can do to help facilitate things within our crew, and that's an important piece. Investing in the association, if we're not trying to recruit new members, that's a problem. We should want people to have the same focus and joys that we have, and that's a big piece of it. Understanding the value of going to those meetings, doing things with a positive attitude is huge. If you always have an issue and a point, a negative thing to bring up, that can be detrimental. You really want to have a positive attitude and know that the jobs in officiating are tough. Officiating itself is challenging, but assigners and administrators, they have a lot of balls in the air and a lot of things coming at them from a million and one directions. And, folks that come into things with a business-like attitude and they are positive, it really goes a long way. And that energy can be captivating. And, a dedicated referee will find the way to channel that positivity, even though they just sat in traffic for an hour and a half and things didn't go right at work today and they're mad at their spouse and you name it. Finding a way to just channel, like, what, this is my 32 minutes of fun and enjoyment, and I'm going to refocus on just this game and take my frustration out on through a positive thing and make that 32 minutes of that ball game be the best 32 minutes of your day. That's a positive attitude you want to bring, and that will carry through, even if you got to fake it initially till you're in the moment. It's really important. The dedicated referee is going to find a way to do their continued education. The game evolves, and you could be refereeing for 30 years, but things are new, things are changing, whether it's the style of play, how teams are executing pick and roll, the step back move. It's different. Before we didn't have kids launching 3-pointers from so deep. Offense has changed. So if you're not in the mode of continuing to learn, you're going to be left behind. And you can do that a number of ways. There's Facebook forums that post plays, reading through that information, commenting occasionally is a great way to take a chance and learn something. Summer training camps are a great opportunity. And just revisiting some of your game film is a great opportunity. And, have a study group before the start of the season. We've evolved from, going over to somebody's house and sitting around a table and leafing through books to, being able to facilitate a study group, through video conference. Whatever your preferred method is, just find a way to do it and work on the game and prepare for the season. I like to share this slide because it's probably resonates with a lot of you. So here's a picture from me from probably close to 20 years ago. But, when I first started officiating, I had all the same struggles as you all that started off, dealing with the pants. Are they the right length or not? They're too short. These pants are awful anyway. Gosh, the money I spent on trying to find the right ones before somebody said, hey, go to this vendor and get these. How do you communicate? What's your court presence? My voice wasn't loud enough. I probably heard that for the first 5 years of my officiating. And, until I learned to find open angles and really see the play, did my confidence come up, and then my voice came with it. I was afraid to talk to coaches. I didn't know the rules. My shirt wasn't tailored. I wasn't confident. I ran funny, twinkle toes. I got called a lot of times. Now my pants are too long. I was out of position and, started off like so many of you. And, it's all of the little things that you can do along the way, whether it's, taking that advice, making small tweaks, watching other people work, that will help you, get off of this slide and into the place where you really want to be. Um, you know, I love this graphic because I think it really rings true. A lot of people, especially our youth, think that, everything is very linear. I'm, and early on in officiating, you're probably going to move up really quickly. Whether it's from working the youth games to maybe getting a freshman game. And now, okay, I got my freshman game. I'm going to, the next thing should be JV. And then right after that should be varsity. And then right after that should be state tournaments. And what we don't realize is, there's some pitfalls and setbacks. And, ultimately knowing what your true next level is really important. And maybe you are working JV games, but, are you the crew chief on those JV games? Are you really prepared to handle a complex situation? Just because you work one varsity game, does that make you a varsity official? When 98% of your games are JV games? No, you're probably still a JV official that dabbles a little bit in varsity, but that's your competency. And so understanding that piece of it is really important. And success really is the image on the right side of the screen. It's got some ups and downs and squiggles, and anybody that's got longevity in basketball knows that that's the truth. And a lot of officials get a lot of training, whether it's through some of the online forums. It takes time for your game experience to catch up to the things that you may know from an intellectual standpoint. So having patience is a really, really key characteristic for officials. And I know that's hard. Everybody wants everything yesterday. But that's something that it's tough, but you need to try to understand, because ultimately you don't know what you don't know. There's certain lessons you're not ready for. You may have the information, you may have heard it, but you don't have the competency to truly implement it at this time. So that's just a little something on climbing the ladder of success in officiating. For all of you, you have to define what your success was. When I was officiating, when I first started, I thought, getting to the Final Four and having the opportunity to have Gino Auriemma yell at me is that would be success for me. And what I learned in my 22 years of officiating is, that carrot and that flag was an important thing, but it wasn't the end all be all. And it was far more important for me to have a reaction from people when they got their schedules. And if they got their schedule and they saw my name on it and their reaction was, yes, I get to work with Penny versus something else. The bulk of your season is all those regular season games. It's not the few games you might get at the end of the year. So if you're focusing everything on postseason and that potential, it may be misapplied. This is one of my favorite pictures from my officiating. And this was taken 8 days after the announcement came out that I was the national coordinator. And I had my referee school camp planned and people attending in Oregon City. And my staff put my name on the schedule. And they had me work one last game. And each of them, whether they had officiating experience or not, got on the floor with me for a period of time. And I had to stay on the floor the whole time. And each and every one of the people in that picture there got on the floor at some point in time, whether it was to administer a free throw or to run up and down for 4 minutes with me. And, you think about that. You think about what it meant to them to have a chance to work with me in one of my last games. And I said, you know what, I won't put the shirt on again. This will be my last game because I couldn't have ever had a better crew than this. And, that if people have that response and reaction to you and your officiating career, it's successful, whether you got the marquee game, whether you got to the Final Four or state championship. This is what it's truly all about. And keep that in mind as you define what your own success is. And it's different for everybody. There's not one answer what success is, but hopefully I've shared some habits with you that can help you attain that level of success that you really strive for and that's important for you. So now I just would open the floor for some questions and share with you guys just one little quote that I love about opportunity. It's missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and it looks like work. Opportunity's there if you decide that, you know, you do want to aspire to these high achievements and, you know, work beyond high school and you got to put the work in. So don't think that it's not people giving you opportunities. You got to put the work in. So Nate, you have any questions there? Stop the share. Yes.
Her hair is hollow gold. Her lips are sweet.
We couldn't miss that opportunity, but hey, if you have questions for Penny, just ask them right now. I mean, she's amazing. She'll answer those questions. Let's get them going. I know you have something.
There is one in the chat actually, and thank you for this earworm that I will be singing the rest of the day, Nate. So this is from Ty Friend. Penny, what things at the college level are reps hit on the most during formal evaluations?
Oh, let me pause that. Okay.
So hit on, I'm assuming you're meaning where their deviations or where some of the things that they could be better at. You know, it's all over the map. You know, we have our performance standards where we evaluate play calling as one, and probably the most important piece. We will grade literally every play in every game and have a play calling score. So we know correct calls, incorrect calls, no call corrects and no call incorrect. So we look at those things and, you know, ultimately if we've got incorrect calls and no call incorrects, we'll go back and look at the why. You know, is it we're not in position? Could they see the play and they didn't make the decision? You know, you can kind of figure out where people's gaps are. If they're having a lot of call incorrects, they're either guessing or they don't know the rules. So there's some things that we can look at there, but there's the performance standards look at mechanics, they look at signals, they look at fitness, you know, how they handle situations. So there's not one particular thing, but the play calling is probably the biggest piece.
Penny, that kind of brings up a good point. I know at our clinics you've talked about when we don't put whistles on plays, we're more likely, our call accuracy goes down. Do you want to kind of maybe touch in on that a little bit?
Yeah, the NCIs, the no call incorrects, you know, those are the plays that I think sometimes we don't have the guts or courage or confidence in that moment to blow the whistle. And when we do blow the whistle, we've shown that we're right most of the time. So if you're sitting in a position and you're refereeing a play and you're like, gosh, should I? You probably should. And if you take the chance to blow the whistle, we have more of an opportunity to be right. Where if we don't blow the whistle on that play, it's 100% chance we're going to be wrong. So that's what you're asking about, Nate.
And sorry, it does look like there's a few questions trickling in. So when you were officiating, and I'm assuming this is more for at the high school level, how did you handle loud and irate fans who get out of hand?
Yeah, that's challenging. You know, there's a point of concentration that you concentrate, and if they end up breaking your concentration because they are so over the top and so frequent with their inappropriate things, you know, that's the time to go to the gym manager and just say, hey, can you address this person? Ultimately there's a potential that they may quiet down with just having that conversation. But it's part of the game. If they're simply complaining about calls and being spirited towards their team, we have to understand there's a level of passion that fans and fanatics have. And part of our concentration piece and part of our successful habits is being able to put that in its right place. Now it's a little more difficult when we have maybe 30 people in a gym and you got that one loud voice that just won't stop. So I think using that, involving the gym manager, is probably the best thing. Engaging in a conversation with that individual one-on-one is not the right path. We don't want to do that. It never ends well. So I would reuse the resources available, which is, it's a great time to make sure we know the name of that gym manager and where they're located when we get to the gym, so that we can use them if needed.
All right, Penny, can you share with everyone some tips for how to effectively watch film to improve?
Yes, absolutely. So, I think early on, the biggest thing is people want to validate that they got the call right. And, when you have maybe a controversial call or a pertinent play or a bang bang play, or like, gosh, I feel like I had a good look at it in the game, go and validate that. That's fine. But as you watch more and more film, it's okay. I got the play right, but was I standing in the right spot? Where could I have gone to have a better angle? Look at plays that were missed by the crew and say, why did we miss this? And if you're in the 3-person system, a lot of times when you transition from trail to new lead, if you end up wide angle every single time and you don't run straight to close down, maybe your rotation was late. And maybe had we, ran to close down first and rotated right away, we would have had 2 officials strong side. We could have been in a better spot. So now I learned from that experience that in transition, I'm going to pay attention to which side of the floor the ball is coming down. If it's coming down opposite or middle, I'm going to go to close down and see if that helps. And so you want to just make tweaks and adjustments from the film and take those lessons learned. Maybe it's, gosh, I really don't like how my blocking signal looks. God, I look funny when I run. Maybe I'm going to change my run. Maybe I'm going to pump my arms a little more so I appear to be more athletic. There's lots of little tweaks that you can do that you can pick up on film that maybe you don't realize you're doing.
What was the hardest part of your transition from high school to college ball?
That's an interesting question. I can roll back the clock on that. I think for me, and I moved up very quickly. Part of that was because the colleges were going from 2-person to 3-person. Right around the time I had just started officiating, and I went to a camp right away after my first year. And I had some people that had been going to camps a long time and didn't get hired. And I felt a little bit of the negativity from my peers and co-officials in the association. And that was at the college level and at the high school level. So just kind of dealing with some of those personal dynamics and sort of being a little bit of a target of jealousy. That was probably the toughest thing. And, over the years, some of the people that put me in that place have become some of my very dearest friends. And, we talked about how they made me feel back in the day, and we've resolved all of that, but that was probably the toughest thing. Cause I was pretty young when that all happened, but pretty fortunate to have started when I did.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Sure as hell not doing.
All right. There you go. Penny, oh, no. Oh, yeah. Officiating or feeling like over officiating versus letting them play. Yeah.
It's kind of a question.
Kind of, yep.
I think going back to the things that are defendable, and what's defendable is enforcing the points of emphasis and, understanding there's a difference between incidental and illegal. And if play becomes physical versus rough, it's more whistles. And I know that there are games where we have some novice players, and, if we called every travel and every, hand check, we would probably still be over at that gym right now. There's a fine line and balance. But I think ultimately we have to trust our gut a little bit and understand sometimes when no one's complaining, and the play's not overly physical, we've probably found the right balance. If we're blowing the whistle too much and not having game flow and the players aren't able to adjust, that's that art behind everything. And so that's a tough comment to reply to in some ways, but I think just developing that feel and I think it's really great when you can have a timeout and check in with your officiating partners on the game and how are we feeling about hand checking? How are we feeling about guard play? How are we feeling about our post play? And be very specific in that, this matchup right here, they're very equal. I've got my eye on them, but it hasn't gone over the top. Being aware of that, but being really clear in your communication with your partners on that is will maybe help you find the right balance.
All right, that is all the questions we have in the chat. If anyone would like to throw in one or two more questions, we'll get those asked. But with that, I'll just say thank you, Penny, for taking the time to kind of give us some amazing information on how to become a successful referee. And I know that you probably have a busy year ahead of you, probably not as busy as last year, but definitely busy. And so with that, I'll let Dana close.
And Penny, I do want to say thank you so much for spending your time with us this afternoon or evening, whatever time it is. I still know what month it is, so the time is just getting a little too detailed for me, but I know you have so much on your plate, and your willingness to help our state get better is so greatly appreciated. And I'm looking at the NCAA logo on your shirt, and if you're in Indianapolis for any NCAA business, please let me know, because we're neighbors with them at the Federation, and we'd love to see you and take you out to dinner. So it would be great to see you and just get to pick your brain, because you know how we are. That's all we talk about, even when we try not to. So I really appreciate you taking the time, and you're just you're an outstanding educator and such a great advocate for officials at all levels. And from all of us in New Mexico, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. A whole lot of just really nice comments popping in on the chat I'm seeing. So I know the appreciation extends beyond those of us sitting in this room. So thank you again.
Hey, my pleasure. And good luck to everybody. I really appreciate all of the hard work people are doing right now. We're in the middle of July. Basketball's a long ways away. And I know that the habits of successful referees is showing up right here in the 118 participants that we have. And thanks for inviting me and the opportunity. And we'll certainly do it again, and probably see you in Indy sometime soon.
Love it. Thanks,
All
Penny.
right, have a good evening.
Have a great night.
Thank you.